Thank you, Tony. And for everybody here, this is a day of celebration. It's a day to reflect back on how we got here, but talk about the many big challenges that we still have ahead, because this has always been a work in progress. Protecting the people of South Louisiana is a top priority for all of us here, but we know it's something that we always have to be doing to battle water, to battle hurricanes and other storms. And it's been just such an honor to work so many years with so many of the people here. I look at Reggie. Reggie and I came into the state legislature together in 1996. And when I co-authored his bill, when I'm a representative from the Metairie, Jefferson area, working with Reggie, who had this idea to say, whatever money's come in from drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, shouldn't we dedicate the lion's share of that to restoring Louisiana's coast? And this was back when coastal restoration was not a universally embraced priority, and Reggie made it that. And when we got that bill on the ballot, I think at the time it passed with the highest percentage of any constitutional amendment. And there were people thinking, okay, maybe people from South Louisiana will vote for it. North Louisiana is not going to care about restoring South Louisiana's coast with state dollars. And yet in North Louisiana passed almost as overwhelmingly as it did here, because the whole state realized if we don't protect this area, then North Louisiana is going to be oceanfront property soon. And so congratulations, Reggie, for making this a state priority to protect not just the people here, but to make sure that we're protecting what's so important to our culture in Louisiana. And then Gordy, you know, when Gordy strolled into the Capitol a few years later, he won with the overwhelming margin of 5 votes. So we deemed him and nicknamed him Landslide. And still to this day, I call Gordy Landslide. And people go, why you call him that? You know, you go ask him. And we, you know, we served on so many different areas, but to think that, you know, you fast forward and starting in 2011, I'd actually be representing Terrebonne and Lafourche in Congress and working with these same people and so many more. It's been a treat, because what you see is the passion that everybody here has. Because it's real easy. When you need help from government, and you're not always going to get what you want, and even if you get it, it's not going to be as much as you want, it's easy to just sit back and complain. And Morganza in the Gulf was one of those ideas, you know, started in the 90s, and they said it's never going to get any federal funding. And then the cost estimates came out. You know, $10 billion is what they said it was going to cost. Well, if you look at that on paper and you look at how the Corps does their cost estimates, they said it's never going to be justified to get federal money. Well, y'all could have just stopped there and said, well, you know, we're on our own. And for a while, y'all acted as if there may not be other help to come, but you didn't let it stop you. You figured out how to get local money. You taxed yourselves. You went to the state. And over time, put up about $400 million of your own money, maybe wondering you may never get that federal help. But I know, and really Mitch and Dwayne started this idea that why should we just sit back and take the $10 billion cost estimate the Corps has? If we don't agree with it, let's go revamp it. Let's go re-justify to the Corps that this is not a $10 billion cost if it's done the way we know how to do it. You know, and you showed the Corps how to build levees better, smarter, and by the way, a whole lot cheaper. And then finally you were able to get a new cost estimate down to $3 billion. And that's when I knew we had a chance. Because at $10 billion, everybody could say no to you. You could have all the fancy titles in the world. We got some pretty cool offices, as Gordy talked about, might be cooler in a few weeks. But none of that matters if they have all the justification in the world to tell you no. But once it went down to $3 billion, we knew we had the arguments, and we met with OMB, the Office of Management and Budget. And I know in that meeting, you saw a different attitude from them. And this was just a few years ago, where OMB recognized, you know what? We have to look at this project differently. And what was able to make the case was not just the new estimate, but it was all the local money y'all have put up. Because just like with LA1, and frankly, it's a lot of the same people, you know, we finally got rid of Henri's job, you know, as the LA1 director, so they found him a new job. And, you know, if he got that done, why don't you bring him here, and he's going to help get this done too. But in that case, I remember when I was talking to Secretary Lane Chow, and when I was able to show how much money the locals put up for LA1, everybody's got a great idea. Everybody's got, you know, hey, my $1 billion idea is the best idea. Okay, how much have you put up? Well, none, but we're just looking for you to fund the whole thing. Well, if you can't put any of your local skin in the game, you're not making the argument that it's a really good project. Y'all put skin in the game, and having that $400 million already on the table, starting with the locals, going to the state, partnering up with Chip, with Garrett, CPRA, and saying we made it a local priority, but frankly, it's got a lot of federal interest. Look at all the people that are behind these flood walls that we have planned and these gates that we have planned. And look at all the energy infrastructure. It doesn't just help us in South Louisiana, it helps the whole country. And if this goes away, if this floods and is shut down for just a couple of days, the price of oil on world markets moves. That's how important this area is to the country. And OMB went back and said, you know what, you're right. We agree, we will no longer stand in your way. Okay, great, now all we now have to do now is go get congressional language to make a new start here where you had everybody fighting against any project. It wasn't against this project, Morganza. They didn't want any new starts because the Corps, as we know, you look at all the projects that y'all want to fund, there's way more projects than there are dollars coming in to fund. But we were able to make the case with all of what y'all have done over the years to say, if any project in America deserves to be a new start, it's this one. And so we were able to get that language in a few years ago and then get over $12 million to start it. And that's what we're celebrating today. Not that Morganza's finally being built. Y'all have been building it for years with your own money. But we finally got the federal government through the Corps of Engineers to be a sponsoring partner along with it. And today is the first new start of new federal money coming into what ultimately is going to be a highly successful project that's going to protect hundreds of thousands of people here in South Louisiana who deserve that protection, all that energy infrastructure that benefits the entire country and our friends around the world. And so we're going to continue, and Garrett and I already are working on language that is floating around in some of these bills that may or may not pass in the next week or two up in Congress. We are hoping to get even more money in. We have over $30 million of requests in to continue this, but it would not happen. We would not be here with all the people here who have put skin in the game for years, Reggie, for decades, making this area, Terrebonne, Lafourche Parish, a priority, and putting the money up to show people how important it is to all of you, so that when I go and Garrett goes and we want to fight to get more money and everybody else has got an idea, nobody else has an idea that has this much local investment, that has this much importance, where the people made it a priority first, and then we brought the federal government along. So for Colonel Jones, welcome to this journey. It's been a long journey, and the Corps of Engineers, to their credit, has helped when we needed help to say, look, we need you to go reevaluate this project. If they didn't do that, we wouldn't be here today. But it was the locals pushing it, and ultimately it was a team effort with everybody here and some really good smelling food. So I don't want to stand in the way any longer. But I want to thank everybody who's been a part of this, because again, you don't get federal help if you don't do all the things that y'all have done for a long time, even with the valid skeptical attitude that maybe they never will come, but if they don't come, we're going to do it anyway. And because you're doing it, we're able to get the federal government to step up and help be a part of getting it done. Let's go get this thing done. Congratulations.